Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
All right, we're live.
Awesome. So hey guys, before we get started with the official going-ons with everything that we're doing, I did want to let all of our listeners know that we do have a new sponsor starting with the next episode. It's going to be DigitalOcean, who is actually running the website that we use for EntreProgrammers.com. We've got a virtual machine over there on, I think, Josh's account, and we've got EntreProgrammers with our WordPress site based on DigitalOcean. I also use DigitalOcean myself a lot. All of my Watch Me Code stuff runs out of DigitalOcean. My Signal Leaf blog runs off of there. My DerrickBailey.com blog runs off of there. Love DigitalOcean. It's so stinking easy to get a virtual machine, VPS, up and running with any kind of Linux operating system that you can imagine. I typically use Ubuntu, but they offer a lot more of them, including Fedora and CoreOS and a bunch of different options. They have one-click installs for common things like WordPress, and then you can just stand up a box and run it entirely on your own. And it starts at $5 a month, which is ridiculously cheap. I've got DerrickBailey.com running on a $10 a month account right now, and that's way overpowered. I've never had a single problem with even traffic spikes from Hacker News and other places like that. These are just ridiculously good boxes that are super easy to get up and running. So thanks for DigitalOcean sponsoring the show and helping us ensure that we can get this thing produced and edited the way that we need to. And I'm looking forward to having DigitalOcean as a sponsor for the podcast for several months to come.
Yeah, I'm running Simple Programmer off of there too, right? And it's getting like 200,000 page views a month, so
yeah,
handles it like a champ. And with that Varnish Nginx setup makes it even super fast for WordPress. So
I love Nginx. I use that for just about everything, including development on my local Mac, and it makes things so dang easy.
Yep. So we've got Keith on the show Keith runs the, I'm going to say Kalzumeus.
There we go.
Branding
problem. Brandingproblem.com.
Dragon name. Yeah, so Kalzumeus is created by Patrick McKenzie, Patio 11 on the internet, and it's actually named after a dragon from an old D&D campaign.
Oh, nice.
And so when he had to file to create his company, he was like, random name out of the hat, Kalzumeus it is. And that's how he knows a dragon.
He's lived with that ever since.
And you guys have the podcast, right?
So I'm the co-host on the podcast. We probably have the slowest podcast ever created. We've done, I think, 10 episodes in about 4 or 5 years now.
Wow.
So, they are monsters, though. They're like 3 hours long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's another podcast about this anime and manga called One Piece, and it's the unofficial One Piece podcast. Every episode they do is 3 hours long, and they release a new episode every week.
Oh, wow.
The show is only 30 minutes long. How do they even do that?
they literally analyze everything about One Piece. About the show, the episode that just came out, the mangas that were released, the fan fiction, the art, the upcoming events, conferences around anime. They go through every last minutia point of detail and talk about it.
That's amazing.
It's honestly, it's the most entertaining 3 hours, about a half-hour show you'll ever listen to if you're into anime. I don't know how they do it, but I've listened to a number of episodes. I sponsored some of their episodes last year, and I listened to a number of them, and they kept me entertained in spite of it being 3 hours long.
I can totally see it. Okay, any more questions about this frame? Anything else you want to say? Okay, next frame.
No, seriously, they do that sometimes. They actually go frame by frame and scene by scene sometimes, and they analyze the crap out of the stuff.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we're 2 hours, and we're every week, but...
Right, yeah.
But we're pretty dang interesting guys, so
Yeah.
So and then you also have DelfiNet, right, Keith?
Yeah. So DelfiNet is the DelfiNet. That also horrible naming decision because no one can actually actually pronounce it correctly. I don't even know how it's supposed to be pronounced at this point. And yeah, we're a digital marketing agency, so we help a lot of startups, we help a lot of entrepreneurs improve how they generate customers. So people come onto your site, and how do you get them to buy more? How do you get them to have a better experience? And we do the marketing side and the technical side of that. So
cool. Okay,
I've been doing that 4.5 years now.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what we could all use help with.
Totally.
It's the hardest part. Everyone thinks, oh, it's building the software, it's getting the great idea. No, it's marketing it. Like that.
Yeah, my dad has told me time and time again that good marketing on a bad product will beat bad marketing on a good product any day.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
Look at the fart app.
Seriously.
Cool. So I don't know. Should we? What do we want to do? We want to go around the table? We want to talk about some marketing stuff.
I actually have some questions about some things I'm doing that might play into what your expertise is, Keith. So I've got a series of screencasts, just to inform you, that I produce at watchmecode.net, and I typically do these in small series, 6 to 8, sometimes 10 episodes long, about a particular subject. And I'm finishing up my subject on RabbitMQ for distributed applications with Node.js. And I'm writing a short ebook to go along with this. It's going to be like 50 pages long. It's about halfway done at this point as well. And so I've been talking with John and Josh and Chuck about this for a couple of weeks and trying to figure out the best way to go about bundling and marketing and selling this thing. And what I've done in the past with my screencasts is at the end of producing a series, I would create a for-sale bundle that people who are not monthly subscribers can go and buy.
Right.
And I can bring in anywhere from 500 to 2,500 on up for a given bundle sale in a given month. And that had been my approach and idea for this current bundle that I'm finishing up. I was going to include the ebook. I've got several discounts lined up with service providers and other ebook providers. We've got the screencasts themselves, and I was thinking, okay, I can bundle this all together as a nice package and put it for sale for $150 or so. Give people on my mailing list a discount and all that. And John especially has been saying, don't sell it that cheap. Put more effort into it. Get a better bundle with interviews and other things going on. And I love the idea of doing that, but I'm struggling internally with doing the way that I have been doing things and just releasing the bundle versus taking the time and effort to put together this larger package. And so I wanted to see if you, as a digital marketing expert, would have any experience, any advice, anything to say around this whole subject that I'm dealing with.
Well, the two things I would recommend, the first one is, of course, he's exactly right. You need to have a bigger bundle. And there's actually two reasons for that. One is
John.
Point for John.
The obvious reason is the fact that you have more revenue coming in from it, right? It's a little more work to do, but it will make you more sales. The other thing is that you can then tier them, right? So you have the screencast and the ebook, and then something else that we haven't defined yet, right? Maybe it's interviews.
Right.
So I would say, instead of saying, here's the one package for $250, break it out into 50, 150, and 250.
Okay.
And say, you get the ebook for $50, you get the ebook plus the videos for $150, and you get the ebook plus the videos plus interviews for $250.
Right.
And I mean, price tiering is a major, major thing in marketing. It's the same thing with all SaaS apps. Everything has that price anchor, and there's a number of reasons to do that. One, the biggest one being, everyone has a price point they're willing to pay, and you want to make sure that the people who are willing to pay less have something to buy, and that the people willing to buy more have something that they can spend more money on to increase their ability. Right? They're getting more information. They're able to do things faster and better with the more information, and you're able to make more money off of that.
Right.
As for and I'm just going to jump in real quick for the third thing. Interviews are great And there's a couple of reasons. One is kind of, I don't know if I should be saying it, but interviews are really easy to make, right? Like you just sit down,
exactly.
You don't have to come up with the content, and it's like you just have some good questions, and the person you're interviewing is giving you all this great content, and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to sell this. Like, this is just gold, right? And it also gives you another thing where the person you're interviewing is going to promote you to their own group as well.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a tweet like, hey, I was on this podcast, or I'm part of this bundle, check it out.
Right.
And that's going to increase your audience beyond the audience you already have.
Right.
So.
Makes sense. I think those are a lot of things that we've talked about in the past around bundles that John has sold. But it's good to hear all of that all at once. So I have this incredible struggle in me, though, to want to get the short-term sales because I want my monthly revenue to be spiked at this point.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for me to sit down and plan and do all this extra work, basically.
Well, you can still do like an MVP of that. I mean, you don't have to like do so. It's just my main concern was like, I don't want to see you sell a book for $25.
Right.
Like with the effort that you're putting into the book, like just put a little bit more effort and get the interviews and get just get a little bit of a, if you do the pricing tier of the package, just to make it worth more. Because I mean, that was the one thing. Like when I first talked to you guys, to Josh and Derick, when we first started this up, I watched both of you launch books and sell books at like the $20 to $25 price range, and you guys sold thousands of copies of your book and made like $15,000 or $20,000 at that point. And then I was like, well, if I launch something, I saw how much work you guys were putting into it. I was like, I'm going to launch something at the $200 or $300 price range, and I was able to like make a lot of money doing that versus for probably the same amount of effort that you put into your books, or maybe even less, right?
I don't know the amount of effort that we saw you put in. I mean, this book that I'm writing is 50 pages, and it's not nearly as much effort as you put into even the little ebooks and cheat sheets and whatnot that you put together.
Well, but you've got screencasts that go with it already, right?
That's
so
true.
that you're repurposing those. So yeah, I mean, if you can, definitely selling these at the higher price point just is so much more worth it than I mean, that's the biggest takeaway that I've learned from anything from business at this point is sell things at the highest price point that you possibly can, because the leverage is so much greater.
And you can always drop your price point later. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can always raise it later. I mean, you can always change your price point. You look at, I don't know if you guys know who Brennan Dunn is. He did Double Your Freelancing Rate. I think he launched the book at like $40 or something like that. It was really cheap.
I think I bought it for $30 when it first launched.
Yeah. He was actually on the Kalzumeus podcast when he first launched. But now it's a $67 book at the low end.
Right.
And at the high end, I think it's around $200 because it has interviews and it has worksheets. Oh, man, worksheets are great. So
two lines of text. Lots of carriage returns between them.
Right.
Because the worksheets, why they're so valuable and why people want to buy them is because people have one of two things, right? They either have a lot of time or a lot of money.
Right.
If they're going to be a customer of yours, right? And that's why, I mean, I'll admit it, back in college, like, I was in the wares scene and all that, and, like, I had a pirated copy of Photoshop.
Woo!
Oh, my God. It took me,
there, we all do it.
It took me to pirate Photoshop, right? Yeah. And every time there was a new version, I had to update it and, like, find a new crack and worry that it was a virus and all this stuff. It's like, I don't have time for that crap now. Like, I'll just go buy Photoshop, because spending a month of my time is just mind-blowing. And that translates into what you're offering, right? And that's why worksheets are so valuable, because people who want to get started, who are like, I don't have time to figure this all out on my own. I want the quick win. And that's what the worksheets give you. It's like a checklist of going down. It's a checklist to success, right?
Right.
Yep.
And I've seen them convert like crazy. And they're so easy to make, too.
So I have a question. Let's say that you have a video series like a subscription, so we're not talking about the packages anymore, but something that comes out every month or every week. Derick has one. I'm starting one. Could you have tiers to those subscriptions?
Definitely.
And so it's you get the videos, and then you get the videos in the worksheets, or you get the videos in the ebooks, or the videos in the webinars.
And also for continuing programs, I see communities are really a big thing. Especially if your videos or your content that's released is only monthly, having a community and even a tiered community. So imagine you're in so you have your subscription product and you have a Facebook group for it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's all the people who are paying that monthly subscription. And if it's tiered, so you have people in the bronze group who are kind of at the starting level, and then you have people in the platinum group who are the real go-getters. And people want to pay more to get into that platinum group to be with those. They're not VIPs, but they're the go-getters. They're the people who are going to be VIPs in 2 to 5 years, right?
Right. And
just wanting to be in part of that community. And a continuity product, the subscriptions, sometimes they're hard to get over 3 months of recurring revenue on.
That's what I'm facing with my stuff, because it's technical content for software developers, and there's a regular churn of around 3 to 4 months in my audience.
Yeah, I think I'm on a bunch of those as well, and the only one I think that we're still continually paying on is Laracasts.
Right.
But all the other ones, it's 3 to 4 months, and we're like, okay, kind of done here.
Right. The only people that are really sticking around for the long haul are the guys that are on the $5 a month plan that I originally launched with my mailing list.
But that community
$5 a month, that's one coffee, and
see, that community aspect probably would work for you though, Derick, because I think that's what you're saying, Keith, right? Is that if you have that community, then it's you might be done with the videos, or you might have unsubscribed, except that now you're tied into this community where you're having these chats with these, and you don't want to lose access to that community because there's so many valuable people in there. So it's where you might have had a 3-month churn, you might just go on and paying for years because, hey, it's what you're getting. It's not the videos necessarily that's the value now. Now there's these people, these relationships that you don't want to lose.
So let me ask for Chuck to input on this one because he's done this.
So it depends. So the Ruby Rogues community is very strong. The other shows, they're not as active, and I think what I need to do is I need to get in there and incentivize a few people to just start some conversations and kind of jumpstart it. But I do like the community aspect from the sense of the videos, because the podcast is a little bit different because people engage at the level they want and it's free. But for the paid stuff, they have to go to a little more trouble. Now I'm going to make it so they can just subscribe to the RSS feed, but if they want to have a discussion or ask a question, I'd like to have the community there. And the other thing that I'm hearing from Keith is that you have different levels of access. And some people will pay for the videos and pay for the community access to get some of my time, or to get the time of the people who are willing to pay that premium, because then they get the cream of the crop kind of people that they can ask questions of and things like that. And so one thing I have been thinking about is doing a weekly or every 2 weeks call where people who are paying for that level of access can get in and ask me anything they want.
Yeah.
And so since I have established myself as an expert, you've done this too in JavaScript, you could easily do that, and the people who really want your input on what they're working on would pay for that premium, knowing that they're going to get an hour every other week of your time, and then you can also answer their questions directly in the forum in kind of a private area where nobody else is really going. They're not giving away trade secrets or jeopardizing their job or anything by asking you the question.
Right.
And so you can have it becomes kind of the lowest level of coaching is completely impersonal. I didn't get those air quotes in the video frame, but it's completely impersonal. It's you watch the videos, and then if you want a little more interaction, you can come and ask the community questions about it. Mm-hmm. And then the next level is kind of the I'm guaranteed to be able to email Derick one question every month or something like that, or attend the webinar. So it's a little more personal because they know that you're going to be there at a time talking about a topic.
Right.
But you're not taking questions in general, things like that. And then your highest tiers are like the dedicated coaching and things like that.
Like the Apple Watch, the Gold the 10,000.
It's the Watch Me Code edition.
I want a gold platinum alloy watch.
Derick will watch you code.
Yes, that's right. That's it.
Now, you joke about that, but so what if you had two things. First of all, never discount how valuable that coaching is. I see people that are like, oh yeah, you pay $50 and I'll do coaching calls. Don't do coaching calls for $50.
No, I used to make $250 an hour doing coaching.
Yeah. And that's cheap.
So, that was $250 recurring.
Right.
And that's cheaper. I would say like $250 on a recurring product would be your sweet spot for the coaching, because you can afford to go a little bit cheaper if you know it's going to be coming in every month, right?
Right.
And the amount of value that the people get from you is insane. Your customers getting from you, they're getting much more than $250 worth of value, and they know it. I mean, think about how much it is to find, vet, connect with, and then have a great coaching call with a business coach or a technical coach.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking $500 to thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's completely worth it, and it really sweetens the pot for any offer you're doing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the other thing is there's no reason why you can't then genericize their problems and put them back into Watch Me Code.
Yeah, totally.
So we're just, we have this problem, we just can't get around it. You come in, half hour later, it's like we know exactly what we're going to do, and we've got it half implemented.
Right.
You just saved them days of time. I mean, you saved them thousands of dollars for $250. So they're going to rave about you, and then you come back and you show other people how to solve that problem.
Right, which is kind of what I'm doing with my Q&A series on YouTube right now, because I do get a regular stream of questions that people send me on email and Twitter and whatnot, and some of them are interesting, and hey, that'd be a really good thing to do for a YouTube video.
And you can blur their face and do their voice. Like the dark, like.
Well, I'm having this problem, and.
So, Charles, you were saying that it has a joke, the watch them code
watch
thing.
you code.
Man, if it was like a screen hero, like pair programming with a pro,
right?
That would, oh man, I would definitely get that for my team. I mean, that's just so valuable.
Right. That's basically what I used to do prior to the whole entrepreneurial aspect of things that I'm doing now. I mean, I spent 3 years as a consultant / coach, where it was all virtual. It was all over the internet through various screen sharing tools, where I would sit down with teams and talk with them about what they were building and show them solutions to the problems that they were having. And I made really good money doing that. It was just tremendously difficult to constantly have to look for new clients to do that. Yeah. But I kind of see where you guys are coming from in this, though, and I've already got the clientele coming to me as my subscriber base. And
right.
I do get a regular number of people that have watched my screencast emailing me asking for time and advice and effort, and I've been essentially sending them to a good friend of mine that does that kind of work still.
Yeah. The other thing is you can totally do this the way it works for you. So you can structure it so that it's like, look, these are the time slots I have available.
Yeah.
This is the number of slots that I'm going to open up for this. I'm not going to do any more of them. I may raise the price after a year. Just put it all out there up front. And then when they come in, then it's like, okay, well, we want the Mondays at 4 o'clock slots every other week, or every week, or every month, or however you figure that out. And and then when it gets filled up, then you can really see what the demand is, because you'll have other people asking for it, and you can't give it to them. And so then you can raise the price accordingly, in whatever time frame you've set up for yourself.
So let's bring this back together to my original question. Is this something that I could trial run as like the Diamond Platinum Edition version of my bundle?
Yeah, definitely.
I think so.
Yeah. Put a cap on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely a cap.
So 10 or 20 or something.
Right.
Put a time cap and a number of people cap. So it's like 20 people this week only, and see what that's going to spur people into signing up for it. Like no one's going to sit on the fence if they know, okay, not only is there a time limit, but there's also a limited number of people getting in.
Right.
Yep.
And I would say for that one, that should be like $800.
Actually, I was thinking more like $995.
Yeah.
And formalize it. I just put this together like a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I haven't advertised it out yet, but like I said, okay, I'm just going to formalize this. So if anyone asks me about coaching, I can just send them to this page.
Yep.
And then it's like there's the pricing options, and I use price anchoring, so but I think that's, I mean, if you've got it written out, I started formalizing everything now, like my advertising, like I just said, okay, I'm just going to type this up once and put all the advertising options, and anytime someone asks about that, I can blast that out. And so it's like, so you can figure out all the services that you provide and formalize that into definition, and then that you've got it,
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I've been doing the same thing exactly for sponsorships for my podcasts.
Yeah.
But Mandy is almost done with my and so then I can just send that out. It has all the rates in it. It has all the traffic numbers in it. It has all the ways to see and access that information if it's available online. Gives them an exact rundown of what they get, and yeah, that's way simpler than going, well, what exactly do you want?
Exactly. And it's so weird because it took me so long, and I'm still in the process of finalizing those kind of things. Like, okay, if someone asked me they need a WordPress site, for example, it's like, what does that offer look like? And for 3 years, it was always, well, let's talk about it and let's do this. And it's a pain in the butt for them. It's a pain in the butt for me, and it's never working out right. I love having a piece of paper or a file that I just send them and say, this is the offer.
Yeah, exactly.
And my friend Neville, he does the copyright courses, the copyright blogger thing.
Yeah, I love Neville's stuff.
He's great. But he has a consulting page on his blog that it's just a rolling, I think he has 6 slots per month, and it hooks into meetme.so,
right.
Stripe. And all he does is, if anyone's like, yeah, I want to get some time with you, it's like, send them a link. There it is.
Yeah, I've almost bought a few of his time slots a few times. And it's really interesting to see that page, because if I remember right, maybe he just did this manually once, but I think I remember seeing that as the time slots reduce in number, the price goes up.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah,
that's a great idea.
That may have been him manually tweaking it for some special thing he had going. I don't remember, but I saw him tweeting about his open time slots, and I went and looked, and was like, wow, that's expensive. And then a few days later, he tweeted again, and there was only like 1 or 2 slots left, and it was more expensive.
Oh, wow. If that doesn't exist already, that is a great SaaS app.
Totally.
Expiring, like, there's so many applications for that where you have...
Take that back to Neville, because he's going to do it.
Limited quantity, anything that you have time that as you sell, you want to increase price.
Right.
There's a ton of application for that. There we go. We just invent products here.
So totally.
And it's so easy to do with Stripe. You just have something on your site. It's like, charge this much more now.
Yep.
So I've actually got a question about pricing. So I've got my thing, because you talked about the pricing tiers, and I keep going back on this, but I've got my at devcareerboost.com, and I sell my How to Market Yourself as a Software Developer package. I sell it for $2.99, and usually there's a discount for $100 off. So when I do a sale, or $199, but I've kept it at the single price tier, just at the fixed price. And my thinking behind it was I want people to pay the full value. So it's like people are on my list and they get exposed to the sale multiple times. Like I've done sales on it like 4 or 5 times now. And my thinking is, and I could be wrong. This is where, but this is my thinking behind it, is that by holding to the price, I keep the value of it. So there's not like a $49 or $50 version of it. Like it costs this much money.
Right.
And then by continually marketing to my newsletter subscribers, that I'll eventually, whereas like if I did tiered pricing, I'd probably convert more people when they first visited on the first try, because I'd meet their price tier. But over time, I'm thinking that I'll generate more revenue. It'll just take more time. Like it might, so maybe someone would buy at $49 on the first visit, like first exposure, and I'd have a higher conversion rate. But I'm thinking that my 3-year conversion rate will be So maybe just a little higher or lower, but I'll have a higher profit margin.
Right. It's interesting to me that you go towards, okay, I'm going to price here, and then go to the lower price. I would say go to the higher price, do the $2.99, just you say, because you want to say, hey, there is no cheap version of this. Sometimes we'll do a sale, but you're not getting the cheap version. But you want something awesome, check out this $7.99 version, right? Mm-hmm. And there's two things that are going to play. First of all, of course, people who have the money and are willing to pay. It's also going to make the $2.99 version look a lot cheaper, right? I
see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I had a client. So they did some. It was real price anchoring, but it was still kind of fake price anchoring. So before they launched the product, they did a huge invite-only version of the course. And they put the students up in a hotel, and it was videotaped, and it was $12,000.
Wow.
For this course.
I know who that is.
I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
But,
yeah, I think I know too.
But then he released the course,
yeah.
And that it was priced at $1,000 and $2,000. But he had that $12,000 version there, and it said sold out.
I wish that guy could teach me how to be rich.
I bet
Sounds like he knows a thing or two.
But the psychological impact of that is amazing. So that's the first thing you see, and you see, oh my God, well, this is sold out, but it's $17,000. So the $2,000 version, that doesn't sound so bad. And I think they're honestly doing that with the Apple Watch as well, because internals are the same. It's $17,000. Like, I can't even.
It's a status symbol.
It is. Well, it's not even better crafted. I mean, yes, it has gold, but the internals, it's not like you have this Rolex or something that's been intricately crafted by it was made in China. And
it doesn't have gold.
It's not a Rolls Royce. It's a gold-plated Chevy Cavalier.
Exactly. But I think it is there for a very specific reason, because after you see that $10,000, $17,000 price point, you're like, yeah, $600 for a watch, whatever. That's great. Like.
That's true. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
No, not $600 for a watch. $600 for a Bluetooth remote to your iPhone. Because that's what it is.
And
it's
that's
a Bluetooth remote to your iPhone.
It has a timepiece. Come on.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I'm going to buy it. Actually, is because my time is like that $600 one-time investment is going to save me hundreds of hours worth of
hundreds of seconds every month.
Hours worth of time over the next few years. Because pulling out my phone out of my pocket and unlocking it and doing the whole crap, right, to check my messages and do whatever I'm doing, that takes time. And that's like, it takes like maybe
You're going to do it on your wrist, which is going to take even longer because the screen is too damn small.
That's why I got the Pebble Watch.
I think overall, I pull my phone out of my pocket a lot of times. That's going to save me a lot of time. It'll be totally worth it.
All right.
Well, wear and tear on your jeans just from pulling out the
there we go.
Yeah, right?
There you go.
Friction is your enemy.
Plus, you know what? I go for a run 3 times a week, and having that big iPhone 6 Plus in my pocket jingling around, that doesn't feel too good.
You still have to have it.
It has to be there
to make the watch work.
The watch is useless without the phone.
No. The watch you can just go running with it. It has a GPS and built-in app.
But you
can run solo.
If you're going to listen to anything, you need to.
You can download the podcast onto the watch.
Oh, okay.
And the audio.
There's no headphone output on the watch.
It's Bluetooth.
It requires the phone.
No.
Fight!
No,
we've opened up this can of worms here.
I know, right? That would be silly. You'd never sell a sports watch if that was the case. That doesn't make any sense.
John's going to be returning an Apple Watch.
So with John's course, let's say that you have this how to market yourself as a software developer. I have to wonder if he did it like in person and offered like $1,000 or $2,000 version. Is that still price tiering? Because it's kind of a different product at that point.
It is. Well, there's two things. It is price tiering because you're offering it at the same time, right? It's a different option that you have. And the high end, it can also be considered price anchoring, which is what the $12,000 or the Apple Watch is, right? It's a price anchor. You're not expecting people to buy it. Like, if someone does, hey, that's great, $10,000. But it's set to make everything look cheaper. But I definitely think like as long as you are including some of the same things in that package. So yes, you get to go in person and talk and have a consult, but you're also getting all the original stuff as well. Then it is a price tier.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right, so score a second point for John. He was right.
There we go. It would just be stupid if it worked that way. Like
I agree.
I would buy it, but.
Yeah. One other thing, John, I wanted to mention is typically, and this is going to be, you'd have to measure this over time, but it's not a very safe assumption to think that the longer people are on your list, the more they're going to buy from you. It's actually the other way. Typically, that decays very quickly, and if people don't buy, like a lot of people, now this is more like a funnel where you're driving traffic to an opt-in page.
Right.
Typically, if people don't buy within like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks on those type of deals, they don't buy.
I agree with you normally, but here's the difference about my business, right? Is because I produce like 8 pieces of content every week, right? I produce, the blog posts. We have this podcast. I do 3 YouTube videos, high quality YouTube videos, the Get Up and Code podcast, a newsletter, personal newsletter every week. So like people over time get to know me, and I mean, this is just a fact of the matter. If I know someone well enough and like them, I will buy whatever they're selling eventually. Right, and so that's kind of my strategy. Is it's like I'm not just putting people on a funnel and then sending them through a couple of autoresponders and then asking them to buy. It's like, yes, I'm doing that when they first come on to listen, go through the blog course, but then they get a long-term relationship with me, and I've had people that have emailed me that be like, I'm in Brazil or somewhere, and like I have maxed out, I'll pay the $200, but I have that's my salary for the entire month. So it's going to take me a little bit to save that up. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, man, I'll give you an extra $100 off, dude. Like don't spend your whole salary for the entire month to buy this thing. But I mean, the reason why I bring that up is because I know that I've established such a good relationship with that person that, if they're willing to sacrifice a month's salary to buy the product, and they've been on my list for like 2 years. So that's kind of where my thinking is. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just how I'm thinking about it.
You're not at all. There's really 2 ways to go about it that I've seen, like 2 major ways. I mean, there's millions of ways to do this, but one is small dedicated list. And that's what you have right there. Is you have people, they stay on your list. The longer they're on the list, the more they believe in you, the more they trust you, and the more willing they are, especially to put out. I mean, $200 is not much here, but it's a month's salary. Like I've put out a month's salary for some of my for some of the people that I follow for some of their courses.
Yeah.
And that is a very real and very good way to do a business. I like it more because it's more personable, right? You have a direct connection with your customers. Like I've become friends with some of the people that I've purchased from just because they were talking to me through the list for so long. I'm on the courses. We end up in a mastermind together, and we turn into friends. And I think that is much more rewarding as a business, and it's also very profitable. The other side of it is, Josh, what you were kind of talking about, which was hey, you got to get them to buy at the first, and you just got to run them through that funnel. And that works at scale. And that's what a lot of the large-scale marketers, I mean, we're talking people who have 100K, 200K, 500K people on their lists are doing. The PPC, like just funneling people through this hard funnel and then getting that initial sale and then building that rapport afterwards is also a very, very profitable way, but there's problems of scale. It's like the difference between being now, but let's say Slack and Twitter, right? Twitter has a much different problem set than Slack does, right? But they're both ostensibly in the same space, which is communication. They're still doing the same thing. So.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so it's kind of the difference between my problem with Signal Leaf is that nobody knows about Signal Leaf. So I don't care about scale and automation because I don't have that problem yet. Mm-hmm. But when you get to the point where you do have that problem, then your priorities change and the way you approach things change, and you do need to get that that $1 sale right away so that they trust you and so that they see that you provide value so that you can start the upsells and continuous sales processes over the relationship that you have with them.
And I don't think that you necessarily ever have to go to that, but it is a place that a lot of people want to go to. That's how you get the $2 million, $5 million, $80 million business. But I don't think there's a lot of stress that comes with that. I've tried it, and I did not like it. I did not like it, and I've purposely tried to stay small with what I'm doing now. So.
Yeah. See, I just recently read. I talked about it last time, but that book E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, and it really it's flipping me around because I'm starting to I'm figuring out now how to scale, but it has to be with having standard operation manuals, and so I don't have to do all this stuff myself and be so stressed out as I'm scaling, and so far it's seeming to work. I just got my my VA from the Philippines working this week actually, and he's worked out really well because I have exact procedures in place. Luckily I read that book just in time, but he's following those procedures to a T, and then he's updating the procedures, and so it's all this stuff in my business that I thought I would not be able to automate. Now I'm even answering emails, right? Because he knows now rules for how to answer my emails, which just But it's
this explains a lot about some of the emails I've just gotten from you, John.
Yeah, that might.
We're still friends. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, but no, it's been pretty cool though. He's done. It's nice to have someone full time working on a lot of that stuff that I was doing before that I didn't think was I could get. I mean, that's where the automation comes into there. Is I'm trying to now to get as much as possible automated, so that I can grow to that scale. So I can still have the kind of small feel, but have the scale as well. But we'll see how it works. But
so I'm curious, just from a professional standpoint, what do you use for your CRM, for your emailing system?
So I think we all use Drip mostly now, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Go Rob.
Yeah.
It's been pretty fun using Drip for the last almost year now, not quite a year, because we've all seen Drip growing and changing, and they've taken a lot of ideas that we've said, wouldn't it be nice if, and implemented them.
Rob listens to this show, and so sometimes we'll get an email I implemented that for you,
hey, I heard you guys talking about this, and here's whoa, that's awesome.
I had a feature that we work with Infusionsoft, Aweber, MailChimp, everyone, and everyone did it. It was when you hit that thank you page or that confirm page, at least send the email address so you can do some tracking on it, right? And I was like, Drip doesn't have this. This is crazy. I emailed him, and he's like, oh, sorry about that. Here, and a week later, we had the feature. It's pretty amazing. I wish Infusionsoft had a response time like that.
They're pretty responsive, right?
Especially since a lot of this stuff, they had one guy work on it for a week and it was done, right?
Yeah.
So, it's why can't you just, fix it and make it work right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had debated this for a long time. I was on MailChimp, and then I think Josh and Derick were using Drip, and I was thinking about converting over. But then I was like, well, I should probably just go straight to the Infusionsoft because and even still sometimes I'm like, well, maybe there's a lot of Infusionsoft just has a beast of features, right? It's you can do any kind of crazy. But then I'm like, well, Drip is so nice and simple and straightforward. And whenever I ask them for a feature request, they implement it for me. I don't know how you put a price on that. So,
seriously.
That's what keeps me
really. The campaign builder from Infusionsoft. It's just copy the Infusionsoft campaign builder.
Just get an account, log in. Yeah. Copy and paste to JavaScript. Done.
I'll say this. This is what I need, though. The most valuable thing I could get from Drip right now is I want A/B testing on individual emails in a sequence.
Yes.
If I can have that, I will be super happy because I've got autoresponder sequences set up, and I just want to know. I don't want to test the headline. I mean,
they've said time and time again that nobody uses the A/B testing that they do have.
Well, I've used it a little bit because subject line doesn't matter so much. I don't know.
It matters a lot. I had one email in my most recent course that I put out. I had one email in there that had just tanked in the open rate, and I couldn't figure out why, because the content was the same as I had been writing, and I started looking at the subject lines and realized that I had the subject line jacked up a little bit.
Well,
so I fixed the subject line, and the open rate shot back up to where it should have been.
Yeah,
okay.
Now it says get Viagra.
Exactly.
If you've got an email course that says lesson, like in brackets like mine, lesson 0, lesson 1, lesson 2, then to me, like what's after that doesn't matter. I A/B tested it, and it didn't make much. I mean, there was
made a huge difference to me. I had that exact setup. This course, lesson whatever, subject of the lesson, and I made very small changes to the subject content portion of the email subject, and it made a dramatic improvement in the open rates.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
but you do, to John's point, you can still have an email that gets open more that actually produces less of what you actually want.
Yeah, that's very
because
true.
All the subject line it does is get attention,
right.
and if you're getting the attention of the wrong people, then you can actually have
I want to know like the copy in the email.
Yeah,
I want to A/B test that because I want to know is that being effective, and that's the thing. Because am I generating sales?
Could you do this? Because I know it's all liquid-based, right? And so you could use maybe the subscriber ID, do a mod on it, and do if mod 1, show this. If mod 2, show this.
Can you do logic in the way they have liquid set up?
Yeah, I know you can do logic there. I don't know if you can do mods, though. Like,
right.
I don't know how much logic they let you go in. But one of the reasons I love Drip is because you can say, if user has purchased, then show this. Or if not, show this.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't
know
do that.
Really?
Man, I want.
Holy cow! That
opened up a whole world for me.
Seriously, I've been wanting to do that for forever, and I didn't even ask because I didn't think it was going to be possible.
I haven't used it recently. So please don't quote me on this. I'm 99% sure that it works. I'd have to actually go in and test it to make sure.
I'm looking at the GitHub wiki for liquid templates right now, and there's if statements right there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I know you can get all kinds of information about the current user or the current person that you're emailing from.
Yeah, so you could even just say you could add a custom field and say if subscriber.abtest1 equals this, send this email, and that's actually what we end up doing in Infusionsoft as well.
Yeah.
We'll split it up manually or choose something to split it up on and then just run it through a second campaign.
It would be a little ungainly to manage that because you would have to write all your versions in the one email.
Yeah.
But it would be a place to start at least.
You'd need to use like UTM parameters and stuff probably to track which version they were getting.
You would.
Yeah. I mean the emails, the emails have to be separated. Well, they do link click tracking.
Right.
True.
But you wouldn't be able to get all the way to conversion unless, you were using the UTM codes. But honestly, at any point, you should be having unique UTM codes for everything you do anyways, right? Like
I'm so bad about that.
I am too, but it's the biggest difference between understanding why your customers are buying and not understanding what the hell's going on. Like,
but I don't have any of that tracking set up though. I mean, I get the point of those codes to have tracking so that you can see your funnels and everything. But I am so far behind in getting any of that kind of tracking set up. I don't know what's going on.
The problem we've all struggled with, is the fact that most of the platforms we use don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And so like I'm not using DPD anymore, but if you use DPD, like getting DPD working with analytics, I was not able to do it. There's no support for it. They don't really.
No, they have universal analytics now.
Yeah, I know. It didn't work for me. It just didn't work at all. I turned it on. It didn't work. Yeah.
I've got it working now.
Oh, that's cool. But it's not easy to get the end-to-end tracking.
But product, $1,000. I would pay $1,000 flat fee. A lot of people would, to just have someone come in and just say, okay, I can take your entitled funnel and I can tell you, I can instrument it, whatever, and give you this is where people come from and what they buy and why, and because no one can get this right? All of us sitting here have tried. We have decent analytics, like we figured out pieces of it, but I don't think one of us sitting here, except for maybe Keith, can say, okay, I know exactly where every single person comes from, and then I can follow them through and know, like, from what source, what percentage buys, and where they went. Like, it's just a friggin' mystery.
So Keith, how much are you going to charge me to go do that for me? 'Cause
it's actually really interesting that you mentioned that, because for Infusionsoft, so one of my good friends, he is an analytics consultant, so he does that kind of stuff professionally. He goes in and he says, okay, here's how we're going to tag everything. Here's all the people who have purchased. Here is the breakdown of every single person by age, rank, whatever, of people who bought you. And it's a pain in the butt, especially with Infusionsoft. We actually just released a SaaS called Segmetrics, and it hooks into your Infusionsoft account and it gives you all that data. It's like, okay, all the people who came in for this webinar, you made $10,000 off of them over the first 30 days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, no, you're exactly correct. There is a huge, huge market for it, because people want to know this, all this data. They want to know. The most important thing you can know for online marketing is which of your customers are paying you the most money, right? And where did they come from? What demographic is the most important? Because then you can target that demographic better. And there's just such bad reporting. There's bad reporting. It's hard to get the data. It's just a pain in the butt in all facets of the process. And that's why analytics people can charge the huge, enormous rates that they can, because it's hard to understand, it's hard to set up, and it's hard to get the systems to talk to each other. It's a bunch of exporting into Excel and pivot tables.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I know I could sit down for like a week and get all my analytics like figured out and put in the custom scripts and write a little bit of custom code in the places where it doesn't integrate. But it's like it's so much effort. Like I'm too busy. I just need someone to just come in and do that for me.
Yep, exactly. And there's a number of people who are doing that, and it's interesting because I think it's a much safer, like especially SEO consultants and stuff. It's a very dangerous game to play. There's a lot of snake oil out there.
Right.
But analytics is it feels very cut and dry. It's like you can do the work or you can't do the work. There's no like magic going on in the background, right?
I guess that's true. Yeah.
And there's no like, we need to let this go for 9 to 12 months before you
see anything, working. And then I left the country and I'm like
Yeah, I'd love to hire an SEO person, right? But I go through that. I'm like, well, I'm going to have to filter all these people because I'm going to have to ask them, okay, you're an SEO expert, so does that mean that you you just like spam backlink to like all these other blogs? Because I could do that myself. Like what could you actually do that's going to, or are you going to do like all this kind of stupid stuff that you're pulling wool over everyone's eyes? Because there's people that are legitimately good at SEO, but how the heck do you find them, Like,
what I've been seeing is that people who are legitimately good at SEO are also doing other things because it is so hard to market yourself as an SEO person. The keyword I've been seeing recently is outbound marketing, where it's essentially a person acting on your behalf to talk to other companies and stuff and just talk up your product, right? And to find marketing opportunities for you to get your name out there, to get link backs and all that stuff in a non-automated, personable fashion, which is much more effective.
Yeah.
And then that person also does SEO because that's their job, right? Their job is to build these high-quality links and to build high-quality communications between the sites. So they also know how to do SEO, and so they'll be doing that as well. And I've had a lot of success with that. I've tried I'm your SEO guy, I'm going to come in and fix up your site, and 9 times out of 10 it's just like, I just paid a lot of money for nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So what's going on in the neighborhood, guys? Oh, I did a sale on how to market yourself. I just did like an impromptu sale.
I saw those emails and I was kind of wondering where those came from. It was like, you hadn't told us that you were going to do a sale. There was no plan. What's going on?
It was sitting on my Kanban board because I was like, it's been like I should do a sale every 3 to 4 months just because. And I wanted to test this because I have people coming through my blogging course funnel now, and so they're getting a mini sale at the end of it. So I was like, if I offer an additional sale on top of that, will that still generate sales? Extra revenue? And the answer to that question is every time you do a sale, you make more money.
You would think so, except so I did my sale at the right? I launched another bundle. I gave people a discount, but I gave them a very broad sale, 20% off of anything.
Yeah.
And I sold like $100 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
In the week and a half that I had the sale going for the 3 or 4 emails and the multiple tweets a day that I was sending out, I sold 0 until the very last day with the very last email, and then I sold like 4 things.
Yeah.
It was pathetic.
This wasn't recent though, right?
Yes, this was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. Oh, interesting. But you did a general broad 20% off, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you had a lot more success targeting a specific product, and
yeah.
So I mean, I could see. So I mean, yeah, I guess what I'm saying in general though is that like sales generally work even when people have already been exposed to this. Like my sale now didn't do as well as like the 4th of July sale or the Black Friday sale, simply because I didn't have the email course. So like the $100 discount was more rare, but it still generated a pretty decent amount of people that were. I mean, my list has about 10,000 people on it now, and so a lot of them have already been exposed multiple times to the product and to sales, but it still pulled a decent pull out of there. So what I did with this one is I genericized it a little bit. So I didn't do like a holiday sale or any kind of, I just kind of, because I wanted to come up with like a 3 email sequence that I could just reuse every 4 months without having to spend a whole lot of time thinking up some kind of, clever, and maybe I can just tweak it a little bit to the particular holiday, but I wanted to have something that I could just have an off the shelf, here's a sale type of thing, so that I don't miss it. Because if I don't have this, I feel like I'll just like delay it because there's always so much other important things to do. But it's important to have a sale every 3 months or every 4 months, just because you're missing out on a big revenue chunk if you don't do that. At least that's what I'm learning with my product. But
I definitely agree. Whether it's a sale or whether it's a launch, it's always good to have, and even if you have that evergreen sales funnel going on, it's always good to have that concentrated effort, that reminder that, hey, this is something special, this is something awesome, because it tips people over that fence. People who are on the fence are like, I don't know if I want to buy, or they forgot about it a little bit, and they're like, oh yeah, that's right, I have this limited time offer now to make a decision. I have to draw a line in the sand. Am I going to buy this or not? And it's a great revenue generator. Now it's interesting about the 20% off everything, because I've really, in stuff that I've seen, unless you have a huge selection of stuff, because there's so many generic sales going on. And if Amazon has a generic sale of 20% off everything, you're like, there's so much stuff that I want to buy on Amazon. Right? But if
did I miss that? Did that happen?
I wish. No. But I mean, I would have stocked my entire house with everything I'll need for the next 20 years if that happened. But the O'Reilly book sales, 50% off. They do it. I think they do it twice a year or something like that.
Right.
I spend so much money because there's books that I want to get, but I haven't been pushed over the thing. But if you don't have that huge collection, then it's not going to be as effective, right? And that's why a targeted message of, this isn't 20% off everything, this is 20% or even 30% off this specific product, and here's why you should buy it, because it's going to improve your life. Blah, blah, blah. That's so much more effective at the small scale that we're talking, right?
I have a lot of evidence for that, because I mean, for all the bundles that I've launched recently, the Pro Express.js series that I did in February was pretty amazing. Or February, March, whatever it was, February, I guess. I put together an email course on it for my launch sequence, and had 7 days worth of emails, 4 of which were this email course that I built, and then was pitching the series throughout at the end of each one of those emails, and I made like $2,500 off of those 7 emails, which was far more than I had made on any bundle sale, or all of my bundle sales combined previously.
Yeah, I also want to chime in here. I'm a friend of Cliff Ravenscraft, the podcast answer man, and he has a whole bunch of videos that he's put together, and he always does a Black Friday sale. And you know, and then he'll come out a few weeks later and mention that he made a whole bunch of money on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he probably has a dozen or so products. But the thing is that he is talking about the stuff in those videos every week on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he comes out and he says, hey, I've got, you know, I'm going to do whatever percentage he's doing off for Black Friday, you know, people have a general idea of what they're going in for and what kinds of problems they want the videos to show them how to solve. And so he can get away with that too, even though he doesn't have a huge breadth of offering of products. And so I think it comes down to not only whether it's generic or not, or whether or not you have a wide breadth of things, but just how your particular audience connects with you and what they know that they may be able to get from you.
Right. It's the difference of, do people have something that they're waiting to buy that they want to buy already? Do they need to be convinced to buy, or do they have something they want and it's just the price that's the problem?
Right.
And so that's really what you need to look at when you're doing those generic sales, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. John, one thing I wanted to mention too is, like, I think it's fine to have boilerplate, sort of like a structure like you're talking about, but I would definitely say you're probably going to get better results if you can give a convincing reason why you're doing this at this time. And I've seen people do, like, really effective sales on something as ridiculous as, like, you know, there was a snowstorm and I'm annoyed, and you know, and like, but you need to have some kind of reason. It doesn't have to be like a holiday, a national holiday or something, but generally, if you have a reason why you're doing it, the results will be a little better.
I hate flowers, so I'm giving away dev courses.
Yeah, so the reason doesn't have to make sense at all. I did a sale once years ago when I first started Watch Me Code. I did a sale once when I was out of town, and I was like, okay, hey, I'm going out of town this weekend, so here's a sale. And people ate it up, and I sold a whole lot. And I ended the sale by saying, this sale will end, you know, Monday night when I get home after I put my kids in bed. You better hurry up and buy, because I don't know when exactly that's going to be. And it worked. It was the most arbitrary thing in the world, but people were seriously wondering when my kids were going to go to bed so that they could actually get in on the sale.
It's interesting because not only is it arbitrary, which is great because people love just random stuff. They love things that stand out. Also, it's so personal. It's so personal, right?
Yeah, you relate to
my kids to bed, and suddenly they have this emotional connection to you beyond, okay, this guy's just selling you stuff. It's become like this, oh yeah, I put kids to bed. I know where this guy is coming from, kind of thing.
Plus, the refund rate has got to be low on that sale, right?
Man, my refund rate.
Like, am I really going to take money back from this guy who's putting his kids to bed? Like,
he's like, I'm going to take the refund. They get an automatic email. My child was not able to eat today because of you.
There you go. So he has to deal with his kids crying at him and his customers crying at him.
If you read my my license agreement on Watch Me Code, I actually go there. So let me read it. Do your best to stay out of the gray area of sharing with your friends. Share when it helps, but don't give people copies of my material on a regular basis. It takes food out of my kids' mouths. Yes, I went there. Watch Me Code is a significant portion of my monthly income.
Yeah.
Nice. So, you need a picture, dude.
Totally. I should.
With sad faces.
Get them both making sad faces.
I could totally
have a bird on it.
The ice cream cone with the ice cream that's fallen off.
And the
screaming. This was that one customer. One time.
Public shaming.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. Oh, I'm reading a really good book, by the way. Influence. I don't know if did I talk about it last week?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I'm just at the end of it now, and it was really, really good. Robert Cialdini, just a lot of interesting, just social
it's really
science.
Classic. So my kid does the so there's one of the examples he gives in there is how actually this reason why thing that we were just talking about. They did an experiment where they had a bunch of people at I think it was a college library like standing in line to make photocopies at the photocopier.
Yeah.
They found that if someone gave a reason why they wanted to cut in line, it didn't matter what the reason was. They would just say, like one of the reasons was, can I jump in line here because I need to make a few quick copies? Like duh, they all need to make copies. That's what they were like. But it didn't matter. Like, just using that because, was enough. And my kids do this. Like, my youngest, he's going to be 3 here soon, and he's really good. Like, his persuasion technique is he just repeats the request.
Yeah.
And we almost, it's so effective. Like, so he's like, can I have it? And we're like, no. He's like, but because I want it. And we're like, okay.
Well, if you want it, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Beyond
why
that,
didn't
though,
you say so?
Yeah, people will make excuses for you sometimes. I was at the grocery store recently, and I was getting in line for the pharmacy to pick up a prescription for one of my kids, and I had one of my kids sitting in the shopping cart waiting on me, and I walked up to the line, and there was a shopping cart in the line. You're not supposed to have shopping carts in the line, yada, 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 but nobody was near the cart, and so I looked at it kind of oddly, moved it out of the way, and got in line. Well, 30 seconds later, I turn around, and there's this lady standing by her cart giving me a really dirty look. And I had turned around to say something to my kid who was waiting in my shopping cart a few feet away. And I looked at her and, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that you were, I didn't realize that I cut. Here, you can go ahead. And she looks at me, looks at my kid, and says, no, you've got kids. I'll let you go first. It's totally fine. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. I mean, the idea of making excuses and coming up with reasons, you don't even have to give the other person a reason all the time. Even if there is something just around you, they will make up a reason for you to have done that. It's this crazy psychological thing. My wife talks a lot about that in her psychology classes that she teaches, actually. And it's really interesting to think about, and it's really horrible to take advantage of people that way.
Well, people want to be consistent with their previous
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, the consistency with previous decisions, right, is the kind of the key driver. Like, if I've already made a commitment or I've said that I like Apple, right, then I'm more likely to come up with reasons to justify, to give my original reason legs.
Yeah.
So.
It's like digging yourself deeper with lies, It's like, oh, I lied about that. I better not admit it. Let me just keep lying more and more and more, and you end up with these crazy situations.
It's interesting. I've always called I like calling marketing applied psychology.
Oh, it totally is.
That feels exactly what it is. It's understanding how people work, how they view themselves, why they make the decision they do, and manipulating that for good or bad. Like, manipulating is a loaded word, but it can be used for good, it can be used for bad.
Yeah, my wife has told me a number of times if she ever quits her career in academia, she's going to be a marketing person. Because there is a high demand for it, especially with social psychology that she does. She designs studies that look at how people behave en masse, and that's exactly what marketing and all this tracking stuff. So when we talk about A/B testing, this is such a new concept that has suddenly become so popular when in reality it's been around forever. I mean, Josh will tell you the history of A/B marketing with form letters and all that. But we talk about A/B testing in software development as well, and how there's this crazy idea of doing A/B testing and how you need to study the effects of the changes that you make. And my wife is looking at me dumbfounded, like, how could you not do that? Who would ever think that you would not do that? I mean, no, of course you do that. Why wouldn't you do that?
As developers, we always think, oh, we're so numbers oriented. Oh, we're so technical. Like, we would do that, and we're not. We're
not
at all.
Well, that whole
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that Thinking Fast and Slow book, right? Yeah. Michael Kaufman is it, I think, or
which my wife has a copy of on our bookshelf.
I mean, people who are data scientists have a bias. Like they don't get enough statistics. Like they don't understand how much is I forget what you call it, like the relevancy threshold. Right. There's a better name for it, but like they don't understand what it is like statistically significant. They don't, even though that's their job, they still make the wrong guesses at when they actually do the math and figure out what's statistically significant, they're off. And so it's like we're definitely under doing that. So
totally. Oh, good stuff.
So I've got a question for you guys. Okay, so after reading Influence, I had an idea as I'm doing my run. I'm thinking, okay, so maybe I should test this. So at the end of my blogging course, right, I do that educational blogging course for 6 weeks, and then the last one is a sale on my, okay, now the next logical step is to buy my How to Market Yourself course, so now you can really market yourself, and here's a $100 discount. So I thought about, what if I changed that email? So I said, I still plugged the course and talked about the course and the values, but now I said, here's the deal. If you email me and tell me why you think that this course will be valuable for you, if you come up with a good, solid reason of why you think that this is going to help you now that you've done this, I will send you a discount.
That's brilliant.
So I'll be getting them to
track it.
They'll be committing in writing why they feel it's because they did that whole experiment with
hell-bent on finding more ways to get more email in your inbox.
But he's got an intern to handle it, so who cares?
Well, the Chinese, right? In Influence, he talks about how the Chinese, the way that they got people to basically captured POWs to become pro-communist was they just made them make small concessions, right? They just wrote down a slightly communist standpoint, but once they had committed it to writing, people want to be consistent with what they wrote. So and people do that when they do testimonial contests for Kraft macaroni and cheese, or right. So the idea would be that, it's not like I'm trying to twist people's arm into in a POW camp, but just if you commit in writing to saying why you feel like this course will be effective to you, for you, why this would be a good purchase, then by doing it in writing, you have now created a consistency within yourself that you're gonna. And so then when I respond back and give you a $100 discount code instead of me just giving up front, not only have you created an assertion already that you're more likely to remain consistent with, but my thinking is also now you've negotiated a price as well. So you have taken some ownership in that. So now you've earned something. Now the discount is somewhat a prize, and it's already consistent with your behavior. So now you'll be more likely to buy.
You need to turn this into a follow-up scenario as well, where a week later, a month later, however long it is, you follow up with these people that sent you, and you repeat back to them what they said. Hey, look, you said that you think the course would do these things for you. How has it done? And get additional response there. And there's testimonials, there's blog post content, there's a million things that you can do with the before and after pictures that you got from people in this situation.
Yeah,
I think one of the most effective things for the before and after for people taking the course is that you don't know what you know, right?
Right.
And it's one of the biggest things. Once you learn something and have really internalized it, you're like, of course that's how the world works. So you can't even remember yourself before you learned it. So having that before of, this is what I want to learn from the course, this is what I don't know now, and then having the after of, this is what I gained from the course, is so powerful because it reminds them, hey, you spent a lot of money on this course, but look at what you did. Look at how much you accomplished in this short course.
Yeah,
then
that's
you can have
really
your VA rewrite your marketing copy.
But I don't know. Does that seem like a good idea? To do that?
It seems like it's worth testing.
Yeah.
So what I have a question. I have a question thing like that in mind. Well, and you do too. Look at the rates of people that actually are responding to your questions. That'll give you a ballpark to expect how many people might respond to that email, and then you can kind of figure on, take a rough cut at a conversion rate off of that and see what you think you're going to end up with. But if your course converts at 5%, and so on that last email, maybe 10 or 20% of those people are going to respond to you, then if only 20 or if only 20, 30, 40% of those people actually buy it, is it going to hurt you? I don't know. You have to test it.
Yeah, you do need to test it, but there's two reasons I can think of offhand that I think this will work for you in this case. First reason is you've done something similar where you said, do you want $5 or a free copy of my book?
Right.
And nobody took the $5. Everybody wanted the book because that they knew that there was going to be more value in this. So you've got a small track record at least of making similar things work. But in your specific case, I don't think what you're doing would work for me and selling my screencast bundles. I would have to I could do something similar, but it would be very different on the surface. But in your case, you're giving these people all this educational content and helping them get their blog set up, and then you're offering this much more broad, much more impact thing to them with your How to Market Yourself course. There's a lot more buy-in in what they've already gone through with your course. There's a lot more value in what they are going to get out of this additional course, and getting them to tell you what value they want out of your new course is going to create a lot of emotional attachment to the thing that they now want, because they've invested in the value of what this course is going to give to them already. They're emotionally invested, they're logically invested, and they're thinking about what they're going to get out of it. You're going to create a tremendous amount of desire for the course that you put together.
Yeah, one alternative is to set that up ahead of time. So rather than like pinning the discount code itself on whether they respond, you get them to respond before, like as you're kind of pitching the course, before you actually offer the discount.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, no. But you're saying email me and I'll give you a discount code. I'm saying you set them up so they're emailing you leading up to that, and then everyone gets the discount.
Oh, I see.
That might be another way to tackle it.
I already do that actually, because I have like 2 or 3 homework assignments in there.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
So that kind of gets.
But it's not. But you're not leading them necessarily up to. You're helping them set up a blog, not getting them to think about the value of your product.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. So you're just saying just have like an email, like a homework assignment, or just somebody that says just, hey, not dependent on the discount, but just to say, hey, tell me why you would find this course valuable to you. Mm-hmm. The only problem is like I feel like if you give them an unknown discount, that's going to encourage them to reply, whereas they might not reply if they don't know that there's something in it for them.
Right.
Yeah. I think the psychology seems pretty good, but whether the numbers work out, you have to test it.
See, I need the A/B testing in Drip.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob.
Because I have classes of people that come through, so what I could do is just swap it out for one class and
see how that class works.
Because as I collect the email addresses, then they end up getting converted over on the same, like every Monday or Thursday, because it all gets grouped into Monday and Thursday classes essentially. So.
Hey, is anyone going to see Rob next week? Maybe we could mention it to him.
I've talked to Rob about the A/B testing thing too.
Oh yeah, you're going to MicroConf, Keith?
Yeah, I actually got approved to be one of the attendee speakers, so I'm crazy excited about that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see you there then.
Yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. So are all you going, or?
No, just those 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm driving down on Sunday.
Oh wow. All right. Yeah, I've been. I flew in for InfusionCon, the Infusionsoft conference. What was it? Last week, I think, maybe week before. So I've been in the States for 2 weeks now, and there'll be one more week, and then I get to go home. So.
Hey, you're based out of Japan, right?
Yeah. So I'm based in Japan, so I've been here for 2 weeks now. My wife is going nuts at home. She's like, when are you coming home? 6 more days.
Where are you staying now?
So I was in Phoenix, now I'm in Austin, and then I'm going up to Vegas. Austin is apparently like the place to be for anyone in tech, anyone in marketing.
Yeah.
And
I live just north of Austin in Waco.
Oh, do you? Okay, very cool. Yeah. We're having some crappy weather right today, but other than that, it's been great. And it's funny because my wife and I were like, oh no, we're never going to move from Japan. We're always going to live in Japan. And now we have the kids and everything, we're thinking, okay, maybe Austin's a good place to live. So I'm going actually this afternoon to go look at houses.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, Austin is very not Texas.
That's what every single person says. When I look at it, they're like, it's not Texas. It's great. It's not Texas.
Isn't it the capital
No,
of Texas?
see, it is, which is crazy. Most Texans will say Austin is not Texas with a negative, like, no.
Mm-hmm.
I say, oh man, Austin is not Texas. Thank you, Lord.
I am happy that I do get to wear my Stetson non-ironically.
Totally.
So I'm very happy about that.
Nice.
Yeah, Austin's great. We go down there quite a bit on a pretty regular basis. If you have kids, look up Thinkery. It's this amazing children's museum.
Oh, excellent, yeah. Because we live out in the middle of nowhere, Japan, and it's so funny because I met Patrick, and he was the only other internet/marketer/developer person probably in the country at the time. And just randomly, we're in this town of, I think it's like 60,000 people total. Like, it's a tiny town.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the chance of us being in this tiny town together? And then
Right.
he moved out to Tokyo, so now I guess I have to move. So
Yep.
nothing left for me.
So so what else, guys? What's going on? I don't want to hog the whole. I've got more news to share if you guys don't have anything.
The only thing that's changed for me is I'm staying in Vegas for an extra day now. One of my friends bought a ticket to New Media Expo, which is in Vegas at the same time.
Oh yeah, yep.
And then he couldn't go because his wife had to have reconstructive surgery on her knee.
Ouch.
And he can't leave her home.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's like, "Do you want my ticket?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Wednesday and probably part of Thursday to New Media Expo and talk to all the podcasting people, and then I'll come home.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to go to that one, but my daughter's birthday is.
Eventually, I hope to have a booth at that.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Did any of you go to Traffic and Conversion in, I think it was San Diego?
No, that's the one that Ryan Dice was putting on, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to so bad. Did you go?
I did not. All my friends and the people I work with went, so I was very jealous. But I heard it was just amazing, just absolutely amazing. So it's definitely on my bucket list for next year.
Yeah, I might go next year as well. I was like, he kept on showing up with the remarketing tag, ads on my YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and every time I was like, pausing it. I'm like, and I went to the page, but I don't know. Next year maybe though. Yeah. He was talking at InfusionCon as well, but everyone I talked to was like, yeah, Traffic and Conversion was just so much better. So.
Nice.
So, on the conversion side, Josh knows about this already, but I set up my that Thrive Leads plugin on there, which again, that's pretty. I'm so impressed with the Thrive stuff, the Thrive themes, and the.
Mm-hmm.
But I set up the Thrive Leads. If you go to simpleprogrammer.com now,
you get slapped in the face like 8 different ways for Sunday.
So I've got a ribbon at the top now. I've got the exit intent light box. I've got a sidebar widget. I've got a in-content widget opt-in, and I've got a post-content footer opt-in now. And so combined...
You still have content. That's my question.
Yes, there is still content. But I'm A/B testing.
It's secondary to all the opt-ins, right?
Yes.
I'm A/B testing most of them. I mean, I don't have a stellar conversion rate, but it's better than we talked, Josh. So okay. I'm at 1.05%. I'm hovering right around 1% every day now,
which is what you were at before. So.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, not for the blogging course, I don't think. When I was just this is, but I'd like to get that up to like 2%. I mean, I don't know if 3% is even doable, but if I could get 2%, I'd be pretty happy. I do need to do this page specific. I need to pick my most popular posts and put the actual post specific giveaway lead magnets, and I think that'll jump the conversion rate. But I've been pretty happy with. I mean, the fact that this one plugin allows me to just have like the ribbon Lightbox widget and do all the A/B testing and all that stuff in there is pretty nice.
Sweet.
I've been looking for stuff like that. There's a lot of things like lead pages or hello bar. Like, there's a bunch of pieces that can come together. Nothing brings it together in just a really nice, simple solution for that.
Okay, so this does. So yeah. I'll send you the thing, but it's Thrive,
Yeah, it's already bookmarked. I looked it up. I was like, I'm bookmarking that one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, if you're interested too, I'd love to send you my affiliate link.
Aggressive one-to-one affiliate marketing.
There we go.
Wow.
Full court
There
press.
we go. All right.
I would love to send you my affiliate link.
Yeah. No, but it's seriously awesome because I was looking for the exact same thing, right? I was like, what the heck? There has to, because I have I subscribed to, I bought Opt-in Monster, I bought Opt-in Architect, I had Pippity, I had all these things, and then I was like, but now I'm missing Hello Bar, and so I was like, what the heck is there is there just a theme that has this stuff built in? And that's where Thrive is optimized for they have the plugin as well, but it was basically when I looked at their landing page, I was like, holy crap, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I want a theme that is completely optimized for opt-ins because that's the most important thing.
Yep.
And so
do they do lead magnet pages, like the opt-in squeeze pages and stuff as well?
Yeah.
Because awesome. That is the hardest frickin' thing to do in WordPress. I don't know why it's so hard to get an opt-in page set up in WordPress. It's just that's worth the money right there. That's worth it.
I've got optimized press, which I do for most of which I was doing for my squeeze pages, but this has it built in as well, and their editor is drag and drop editor is better, I think. So
nice. Yeah, I had used optimized press. It had gotten so long in the tooth. The marketing and everything they include in it, it feels like it's from the early 2000s, right? And it's it's definitely that old school Jeff Walker, Belcher kind of marketing style, which I don't think converts as well as the modern style does anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, that's true. But I'm trying to think if there's. What about you? You guys have anything else going on?
I pretty much
I feel like I'm taking over the whole podcast.
I told my story at the beginning already with the Watch Me Code stuff that's going on. My client work is not drying up, but it's going back down to its normal levels. So I'll be doing about 70 hours a month instead of the 110 that I was doing, which is totally fine. The push that I did for that big launch I had is done, and I'm in maintenance mode with new features and stuff, but it's nothing time critical anymore. So I'm going to have a lot more time to put back into Signal Leaf to get the Dropbox integration finished and to get some other features put in place that I really need to get done. And then I've got Momoko starting on the Watch Me Code stuff. She got a copy of Watch Me Code set up on her local machine so she can start wireframing the onboarding side of the site for me, and hopefully that's going to continue to help Watch Me Code grow. I've been seeing a lot of increase in my users lately. So you guys remember 6 months ago or so I was talking about how I was losing more subscribers than gaining.
Mm-hmm.
I had a net loss of about 10 every month. At this point I have a net gain of about 10 every month.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah, so whatever it is I'm doing something right, and I'm up to about 370 subscribers from 326 about 6 months ago.
Nice.
And it's continuing to grow. It fluctuates. It was at 373 a few days ago. Now it's 370, but I expect it to jump up to 380 within the next month. So
nice.
Growth is good. Yay!
I got did you guys see? I forgot to send a link. I did the YouTube video. The first one came out that was professionally shot from
Oh, nice.
And it's got multiple camera angles and everything.
Right.
And so now I'm releasing 3 YouTube videos a week, and they'll all be HD professionally shot videos.
Nice.
The YouTube is just growing like crazy. Last month I added 600 subscribers to the YouTube channel. So the growth is just taking off. It's like hockey puck growth on there, so
hockey stick.
Hockey, yeah.
Hockey puck growth, I think, is what
just going down.
There we go. I'm agreeing with that. I have all those expressions.
Totally.
You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose.
You can't pick your friend's nose.
All right. Yeah. I do the wrong one. Nip it in the bud.
You're the George W. of marketing expressions.
I love how programmers make sporting metaphors.
Totally.
So it's just like basketball. I just hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
John, did you get the tweet adder update yet?
No. What is that?
The tweet. So they released an update today that I got forced to install that basically rate limits it and pretty much makes it useless for me at this point.
It rate limited it?
Yeah.
No.
Yep. I think Twitter is cracking down again, and yeah. So it's like it's I don't know. I have to figure out what the timing would be, but I think to follow like a few hundred people would take hours. So it's pretty much a pain. So
I don't see anything on mine.
What happened to me? I'm on the Mac, so I have the Mac version, so you might not have the update yet. But for me, my account got like turned off, and then I had to download the update to re-enable it. So it'll probably happen at some point.
Oh, interesting. I guess I'll probably. Well, see, I've got my VA that's doing it now.
Yeah.
And he mentioned some kind of error message. I have to get him to screenshot it for me.
That's probably what it was. Yeah. It pops up this big warning message that says, "Slow down, partner," or something like it. It's like yeah. So that's probably what he was talking about.
I may actually spend the time to go in and modify the code to take that out.
You can do that?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can just. It's a .NET assembly, right? So I can just go in and find the. Like.
That's true. I guess you could.
It would be worth it in this case if that's the thing, because unless there's got to be a black hat version of this that's out there. That, like,
well, yeah, but I mean, if Twitter's getting really strict, then you can get yourself banned, and then you have nothing. So, I've been there.
I don't know, because I'm following 1,000 people every day now.
Yeah, that's going to take a long time with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my VA's doing it, so maybe he can. Yeah, that's frustrating if they've messed that up, because that's a great source of getting people onto your list.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah. So I was pretty bummed by that this morning. The other thing for me that's happened this week is I'm really glad so I have this client with the explainer video website, and I'm really glad that I decided to dig in with him and like actually look at his stuff before I just started writing for him, because what he wanted was he basically wanted an email sequence, a landing page and an email sequence was what he came to me wanting, and I looked at his site and I was like, well, what he had is it's kind of a mess right now, but I looked at his site and I was like, I don't know if this is really what he needs, and I had him fill out this questionnaire and like, what's your traffic, and he's told me, so he was getting 11,000 page views a month for his site, which is pretty good, and he was hoping to get 2% of those converted to email opt-ins, and so we've been working on this now for a couple weeks, and his site traffic drops like out of nowhere. Okay, he gave me access to his Google Analytics. His site traffic drops from like by about 60 or 70% like that overnight. And it was just like one day, like Friday, he got like his usual amount, and then it dips for the weekend, and then Monday, it doesn't come back. And so we're digging into it, and it turned out he was like 2/3 of his traffic was just hits from India on his homepage. So
interesting.
Yeah. So we don't know, and he sent me screenshots. I didn't dig back into the past too far, but he sent me screenshots, and he's like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. And he sent me this zoomed out photo of like 3 years worth of traffic, and he had spikes where he was getting probably like 50,000 visits a day for like months. And
what's his line of work?
Well, he does explainer videos. So it's like it's a pretty niche. I mean, it's a fairly niche product. It's not like a blog or anything. And he was just getting these huge traffic spikes, and then it just stops. So it's not enough that you'd think it was like some kind of attack. So I don't quite know what to make of it, but I'm just glad that we didn't go into this thinking, okay, we have 11,000 legitimate page views a day on your homepage that we can try to convert into email signups, because that would have been very disappointing.
Do his explainer videos have link backs to his site or something? Does he? Because maybe a video went viral or something, and then Yeah.
Well, it was so consistent though for like 2 or 3 months. If you look at it, it's like, it's really consistent and then just drops off the table.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was really strange. So I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we figured that out before before we dug in, because like now I'm still kind of debating where the best. So he has AdWords going, and he's got like his organic traffic, and his organic traffic, like a big chunk of it's actually coming for. He ranks highly for, and actually you might know something about this, Keith, but he ranks highly for the eBay equivalent in Japan, and he's getting, because he did some work for them. So he ranks like 3rd for them on Google. So he gets a bunch of traffic for that. It's completely irrelevant. So I'm debating. I'm not sure whether I'm going to recommend for him whether we try to focus on his homepage and the organic traffic, or try to get the AdWords thing really cranked up. We realized that we were digging into his AdWords this week, and we realized that a bunch of his conversions have actually been coming from people in India. Who probably are competitors, just checking out what he's doing. So his data, his data's dirty. It's not as helpful as it could be.
It sounds like you're not getting much performance off that front page, right? And so I wonder if is like dedicated AdWord funnels are the way to kind of better. He's got no, like, all he has on the front page is he's got a sidebar opt-in form, which converts at like 0.5%, if that, and then he's got a contact form across the bottom, which converts really, really poorly. So like the home page is like, if he's got decent traffic going there, there's a lot of opportunity on that home page. Right.
But yeah, I'm kind of thinking that starting with AdWords. Now I don't know. The thing is, I thought he was getting really good cost per click, but I didn't realize he had the overseas. I made a blunder. Like whenever I look at a new AdWords account, I need to look at, okay, what countries do you have enabled? Because I've always just, when I do it, first thing I do is like, U.S., Canada, like I filter down pretty tightly on what countries I'm spending money in. And he has his like wide open. It's like anywhere in the world. So he's getting clicks for like $1.25 for explainer videos. Well, yeah, but those clicks are coming from India, or so I don't know what his cost per click even would be if he just restricted it to be U.S. only. Yeah, he might not be able to afford it, honestly. The other thing is, I realized I've never worked with anybody who had fixed costs, who wasn't selling an information product. So I need to find out. One thing I need to find out is like, okay, how much does it cost you to actually produce these things? Like, what's your profit margin? Because we're so used to just everything being pure profit, basically, or 97% profit. This is not at all that way. So
the infotainment business.
Yeah.
Overhead? We don't have overhead margin. Right?
Yeah.
It's like when you go to when I go to my accountant and she's like, "Well, what's your what's your profit margin?" I'm like, 99%.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that has taken away from profit margin for us is hiring. Because we were at our heyday up to 10 people, and that as soon as you start having those conversations, then your bookkeeper's like, okay, now this looks like a regular business.
Right. Yeah, for me, it's Amazon S3 costs. It's serving files with S3 gets expensive.
Yeah.
Oh man, the amount of money I spend in staff.
Yeah, so that's been kind of interesting to explore that this week. I'm kind of leaning towards trying to go the AdWords route, and at least we can test the messaging there and figure out what's going to work. And I think it will probably work if we just roll it over to we're probably going to do like a welcome gate type of deal on the home page.
So. Well, if you're doing AdWords, I would definitely recommend having a specific page for it.
Oh yeah, we've got a dedicated landing page for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess right now. He's just got like a generic like. I really think he's got kind of like he's almost selling the concept of explainer videos, which if you're searching for explainer videos on Google and looking to buy them, you're already sold on it. So we need to find a campaign. We need to focus the campaign. I'm kind of thinking it'll be around like something around how to do explainer videos really well, basically, or pitfalls to avoid, or like one question he gets from all his customers is like, how much is this going to cost? So we could set that whole discussion up with a pricing guide. Here's all what goes into your explainer video, and that would be valuable whether you buy from him or not. Just to understand the process. So that's kind of the direction that I'm gonna take him. But yeah, I think we'll start with AdWords.
Yeah, my favorite formula of all time is where you say, like, I'm going to teach you how to do this thing.
Yeah.
And then at the end you're like, okay, now that you're an expert and you could do this thing, why do you want to do it yourself? Like, I could do it all for you if you buy this thing. Because then it's like you've given them the education, you've made them realize all the steps to do it, and now you're going to automate it for them. That's like just tying the ribbon on the package. So that would probably work really well with this type of thing. It's like if you just have him like explain how to do an explainer video and all the steps, and then you're like, but why? Like, why become an expert in this? I'm an expert. I'll do it for you.
Mm-hmm. It's a great marketing stance to have. And we talk about it a lot. It's like with this educational marketing, here is everything I know, everything I can do for you, etc. You now have all the knowledge I have, and people think, oh, now that he's given it all away, no one's ever going to hire him. But it's the opposite. You trust him so much that it's hard to take all this information, even when it's been curated. Taking curated information and applying it is so difficult. And it's so much easier just to hire someone who you trust now to do the work for you.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's so true. It's so funny. One of the largest comments, I still get this all the time when people say, "Well, why do you give away so much of your stuff for free?" And it's like, why do you give away 90% of what you like? Why would someone go and purchase your thing if they can just read your blog posts or watch your YouTube videos? I'm like, because that's exactly why. Because they want more. Because they want it done for them. Because they want it all packaged in a bow, tied up with a bow now. But my favorite conversation with Patrick, he was talking about just this. He had a client that had come to him, and they went to the initial meeting, and they're like, "Hey, Patrick, we love your stuff. We've read all your blog posts. We've taken your paid training courses. We've seen every single podcast you've ever done, ever, like everything. We've read it. We understand it. We love it. It's great. We want to hire you." If you've read it all, you know everything I know. There's no reason why you should hire me. And they're like, yes, but we want you to do that for us. We saw what you did for the other companies. We want you to do that exact same thing for us. Right. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. It doesn't hurt you to tell people what it is you do. Right?
That's how I got all of my consulting clients when I was doing consulting. I mean, I was out there on Stack Overflow answering questions every day. I was blogging every day. I was doing all these things, giving away every last bit of knowledge that I had, and people were banging down my door trying to get me to go work for them. It was
Yep.
It's interesting. I mean, because the same applies in the corporate world too, right? When I worked in the corporate world, there'd be all these people like job security, man. I'm going to hire. And I'm like, if you want to be the most valuable person in this company, you just give away everything you train people, like you teach them everything you know. You make yourself as unneeded as possible, and you'll become, it's like the to place yourself, below a mountain to, a sage places himself at the bottom to. I don't know. You see, this is the problem with my quotes.
Metaphors are not cooking for you today, John.
Anyway, but by doing that, you make yourself actually, conversely, the most valuable.
Right.
Well, the thing is that I have several friends that have information products, and or another example is Dave Ramsey. If you listen to his show, everything he talks about in his classes, in his paid products, in his books, it's all on his show. I mean, you could piece it together, right? But people pay for the organization of that stuff, and they find the value in what he's doing precisely because he gives everything away.
Right.
And so when they go buy it, they just buy it because it's organized differently, and it's packaged up nicely. And
it's the whole time versus money thing, I think, where they don't have time to watch every single podcast he's done, every single video, go through all the training videos. They want the specific answer to the specific problem they have. They want it now.
Yep. Exactly. But so Josh, also on the AdWords. So I've got my pay-per-click advertising guy that I've hired. The one from the UK. There's two. The other guy's not doing so hot, but this guy, he actually took my ad campaign, my landing page for the email course sign up, and he took it to Google before he ran the ad. And they gave a bunch of feedback, and so there's a few things I need to change.
Okay.
But in general, I mean, from someone in Google AdWords, you can just collect email addresses with the landing page. It's fine as long as you're not making promises that are not, like, there's a bunch of specific feedback. Like, I have to change the landing page, but as far as I can tell, like, this will be okay and go through.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I also know that there are probably hundreds of different reps and people making decisions, and the people that can ban you have, like, the people who actually can give you feedback on stuff don't talk to the people who ban you.
Yeah.
So, and the people who you call and beg for help don't have access to the reasons that you were banned.
Or the reason that somebody said it was okay.
Yeah. So, but give it a shot. You can always open another account. You just have to, it's like an identity. Like, people do it. Like, it's like an identity. I've heard of people, like, especially in the black hat world, like, they get banned. They run for like a week and then they get banned, and then they go to one of their friends and they get a credit card in their name, and then they run for a week and they get banned. And I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. But
no, I mean,
it sucks because they ban your address. Like, they ban your physical address and your credit card. Like, they blacklist you. I mean, it's not just your account that gets suspended. It's like you. They make it personal. You know. It's like your name and your address and your credit card.
And your friends and your family and your coworkers.
Disappear you.
They send the mafia after you.
My dog disappeared last week. I guess that's what happened. Like,
totally. You got banned from Google and your dog.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'll try it out and see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I do have to do the remarketing on Facebook. I got to get them to do that, because I think that's Adrian from Pi Image Search. He was telling me that he pays 15 cents an email address through retargeting. Through from his ad roll or whatever he has on his main site to do retargeting on Facebook advertising platforms. So, I mean, if you can collect the email addresses at 15 cents or somewhere around there, that's going to be extremely profitable. It has a ceiling to it, because retargeting only works as much as you have audience, right? So, like, you can throw sky's the limit in an AdWords campaign or whatever, just a standard campaign.
You hit a ceiling with clicks, but yeah.
Well, but theoretically, like you can spend a lot more money, but with the retargeting, there's a max amount where that you could retarget people. So, but it seems to me like everyone should be spending that max amount, because that's super cheap, free, almost free. Almost free. So dirt cheap, that's almost free. But
I really think retargeting has just been a complete game changer for online marketing. It's amazing how few people are using it. Like, I just did a campaign for an internet marketer, and we didn't even do it wasn't even a CPC. It was just a blanket. Anyone who ever came to the sales page, hey, let's just show them a 1-week ad that just says, hey, did you forget to purchase, right? Yeah. And we made $2,000 off of, what was it, $10?
Wow.
Like, it was like, holy crap. Wow. It was a pay-per impression, and it was a low number of impressions because it was a very select number of people. And, we got maybe 5-10 purchases, but at a high price point, I mean, it's a very nice return.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's essentially the secret sauce of internet marketing right now, and I'm loving playing with it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about. See, I was trying to. I could use your opinion on this, Keith, because it's my strong opinion that every single entrepreneur, internet marketer, entrepreneur in general, should be a copywriter. Like, you should have copywriting. I think that's a core skill, just because it's so widely applicable. But I felt like pay-per-click advertising is not one, but I'm starting to feel more like, as I try to hire people to do this for me, I'm like, I guess maybe I do have to become an expert at this. Like maybe I do have to get, because like it's like the remarketing, for example. It's like I'm talking to people, and some people who I'm hiring to this don't even know about this. So do I have to become the expert in it? Like, is this a core skill for an entrepreneur, is to understand advertising?
I don't think it is. I mean, to understand advertising, yes. Not the specifics on how advertising works. I think you need to, just like you understand, I think being a copywriter is great. You don't have to be able to write huge, long blog posts, but you need to be able to explain specifically what your product does in a very understandable fashion. And it's the same with advertising. You need to understand what who you're targeting, how the advertising works, right? Which is a big thing. Like, hey, you can actually advertise to people who came to your site once. And if you don't have to understand like how I hook up perfect audience and Facebook and do all this stuff, that I think you should definitely move to someone else if you have the ability to. But just the idea of how marketing works is very important for someone to know now. But I try not to do the ads myself as much as possible. I do them for clients, but for my own stuff, it's like I have a designer who puts together the ads. I do the copywriting for the header, and then someone else loads them all up, because it's a little bit of grunt work, right?
Right.
It's loading up 1,000 or 100 ads, whatever, and then also figuring out what is performing and looking at them every day. I think it's better to have someone else do that if possible.
Yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense, to have the higher level, and then like I guess just looking for someone like using the keyword perfect audience or something like that, or ad roll would probably find me the right person.
I think also like it depends how much money you're willing to spend on that help. Like if you hire somebody, like there's guys that are going to charge you thousands of dollars a month, but they're going to make you tens of thousands of dollars a month. And they're probably worth it. And those guys, trust me, those guys would know about retargeting and a lot of tricks that most of the other people have never even heard of.
Okay, maybe I do need to hire agency then, because I was trying to hire freelancers off of Odesk to do pay-per-click advertising for me, and some people have been saying just go with an agency and pay the money, because I'll pay honestly, I'll pay a couple thousand.
The agencies hire the people off of the Odesk.
No, they really don't.
Okay. AdWords agencies have a very bad reputation for getting like junior account people. Like basically they bring you in, they have a checklist, and you spend 2 or 3 months, and that's the person you get. They have 2 to 3 months of experience when you work with the bigger AdWords agencies. But a small agency, I'm not taking anything away from like what you're doing, because like you guys are the type of thing I would say John needs to look for.
No, I completely agree, because there's 2 specific things there. One is the thing you should get a VA to do or a junior to do, which is actually building out the ads, like just putting them all in, getting all the retargeting done, whatever. But I think when you work with an agency, and I won't make any judgment calls, big to small to whatever, if you work with a good agency, what they're providing is, in addition to marketing knowledge and appeal, but also how to specifically put the demographics. It's a lot about demographics, right? It's all about targeting the correct demographics. It doesn't matter how good your ad is if it's going to the wrong person, and that's what the Odesk person is not going to normally be able to do. They're not going to be able to say, this is the demographic you need to be targeting for this, and that's what I really think agencies like mine and agencies like some of my friends' agencies really do. And I mean, the bigger agencies, they run with people who have ad spend of like, God, what was the huge number I heard? I heard 120K a day.
Oh my God!
I know. I just like I can't even imagine that. And he's like, yeah, I've looked over the ad spend. I had like $60 million on my credit card or something like that. I was like, oh yeah, that number looks right. Oh my God.
Wow. But that's the whole thing, is like advertising, like that goes more into the traditional advertising, right? Like because like traditional like Kmart and and Macro Kraft or whatever. I'm gonna pick all K ones, but they spend like ridiculous amounts of money on advertising, right? This is what kids go to college for, to learn marketing, right? Quote marketing, and that marketing means you throw out a bunch of money and you don't know which money is worth anything, right? I mean, it's like they don't care. They get their effect or their but when we're the smaller person cares. It's like I want to know exactly what my ROI is on exactly what dollar I spent where. Exactly.
And I think there is a definite mid-ground because I mean the guy I'm talking about, the 60K, is not a huge multinational corporation. It's a big company, but they get a huge return on that $60 million they spend every year, right? And that's why they do it. And they're using the exact same tools that we are. It's just at a much higher scale, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things that I love about the PPC and just the paid advertising is that once you find that lever, you just pour more money into it and it makes you more money. Like if you have a conversion rate that makes you more money than you pour in, you're just like, just up the lever. And it's a money generating machine.
Yeah, there was a.
I'm so slimy to hear myself say that, but
there was a WordPress service, hosting service. I don't remember which one. The guy that founded it was giving a talk about marketing, and he said that the only reason they cap their marketing budget is because their support people can't keep up.
Yep.
He actually has an unlimited marketing budget because it's so effective that he knows for every dollar they spend, they're going to get like $3 or $4 back, and they cap it every month based on what the support people can.
Because they can't.
Yeah.
That might have been WP Engine. That might have been
Jason Cohen.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. They should advertise on EntreProgrammers.
They should.
He's going to be at MicroConf.
Oh yeah, we'll have to. But definitely, Keith. It sounds like you do exactly what I need.
Yeah.
So we should talk.
I'm gonna send you his affiliate link.
Yeah,
and he'll send you thousands.
I'll send you an invoice.
Because I'm also looking for someone honest, because if you can look at my situation and you can honestly tell me, hey, you spend X amount of dollars, we can probably get you X amount larger than that, and if that's, I'm at this point now where I'm like, I want to grow. I'm not doing any paid advertising, and I'm doing about around $10,000 a month of revenue on this digital product, basically. Right. And so I feel like if I find the right, I should be able to take the paid advertising and be able to maybe 5 to 10x that. Should I be able to take this up and make it 50K or 100K if I'm having success without any paid advertising? And I don't know. Maybe my dreams are a little bit large, but I feel like that
I don't
should be the
case.
case.
No, I don't think that's an overly large dream at all. I work with people who start out, they're at that 5K a month, that 10K a month, that 20K a month, and they pull it up to, okay, now we're making 500K a month, right? It's a mind shift, but the strategies are all the same. It's just a matter of finding and flipping that switch, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to talk about it a bit after the call. So.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that.
All right.
All right.
Well, we're going to see each other in 2 days, so let's talk.
Oh yeah, we'll talk at MicroConf. Yeah. but yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad because that'd be really really helpful if I can get that.
That'd be awesome. All right.
All right.
So with that, we should cancel the show and you guys go talk. No, we are hitting the 2-hour mark though, so we probably should.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should throw one plug in here for the EntreProgrammers Retreat. Yes. Tentative dates are still October 16th through 19th. We still have to, once Derick confirms the dates.
Sorry.
And price range is tentatively about $1,200, I think. And they can go to where to sign up for their interest?
EntreProgrammers.com/retreat2015. And actually, I did get an email back from my wife while we were talking here, and she said that she thinks it's okay. That's not 100% confirmation yet, but that's at least the initial confirmation.
So we're no further ahead than we were.
We are slightly further ahead because now she's aware of those dates, and she has not said no.
Yeah.
That's progress.
Cool.
So we all have a thought for the day to close things out?
Oh, yeah, and let's give Keith a chance to plug his thing, where people can find him.
Right.
So you can find me either on DelfiNet.com or just search for my name, Keith Perhac. Apparently, I am the only Keith Perhac in the world, and I also own the. It's really easy, and it's also really scary because there are posts that I made back in high school still out there.
I never understand why.
Now everyone's going to start looking for.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to start looking for the posts I made on RPG.net and all that stuff. Yeah.
Nice. I never understand why like John Smiths don't just change their name legally. Like,
right.
If I had a name that was, I would just change it. Like, not a big deal. But anyway, that was a different conversation. Okay, thoughts for the day.
All right. All right, I'll go first, I guess. My thought for the day, thought for the week is going to be face your fears head on. This is actually kind of spawning back to what we were talking about at the beginning with my stuff. I am terrified of putting together a much more expensive, larger bundle, terrified of organizing these interviews and putting it all together and doing this because it's out of my comfort zone. You know, I'm comfortable with these $100 packages that I'm doing now because that's what I'm currently doing, and it scares me to death to do these new things. But every time I do these new things, you know, I learn something new. I grow and I get better at what I'm doing, and I'm able to do newer and better things all the time. So face your fears head on, attack them, and get through them. It's incredibly important.
All right, I guess I'll go next. So I've been reading a book. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon.
That's on my list.
Yeah, I've heard of it a number of times.
I'm enjoying it. And the thing is it mainly just puts forward concepts about building wealth. And the thing that I really got out of it, besides the concrete advice, do these certain things in order to build wealth, was that there are rules to certain things. There are certain principles that if you follow them, you will be successful. And it holds with both people and money and all kinds of other things. And so if you go out and talk to people who are being successful in the area you want to be successful in, then you can find out what those principles are that you can then base your actions on to get that same level of success. And so that's kind of what I want to put out there. I am going to recommend the book as well, but that's really what I've kind of picked up there. And on a side but related note to that book, I have paid off $8,000 this week in debt. So
nice.
Yes. See, I'd say mine is and this will come from Matt Fury. I was listening to his Theater of the Mind, which I'm almost done. I'm going to send you, Josh. But
that name sounds like a superhero name. Sorry,
Matt Fury. He is kind of like he's like a kung fu superhero. The book name, Richest Man in Babylon. But he said he in one of his seminars he was talking about this idea of don't try to get caught up. Look for opportunity. And I think because he was talking about like he got back from the seminar and like he was trying to get caught up with his email, and his brother actually told him like, why are you trying to get caught up? Like you'll never. And so he talked a little bit about this concept of like in business, not being able to catch up is good. That's a good thing. That means you got too much work, you got too much stuff coming in that you can't handle it all, and that's good. So stop trying to get caught up and instead focus on what is the best opportunity at this point. And that's where I'm very like anal retentive in that way. I'm like, I have to catch up. I have to get this, and I get frustrated and I feel like a failure because I didn't get all the stuff done that I planned to get done. And what I need to realize every day is like every day is new. Like it's good to plan things out. Like but look for opportunity. Don't look for problems. Don't look for like you have to get caught up with this stuff. Look and say, what is the biggest piece of pie that I can eat right now? And there's an original one for you.
Dude, I could eat a large pie at the moment. I'm still doing this one meal a day thing. It's killing me.
Addiction, habit.
It is.
There you go.
It's very related to one of the lessons in The Richest Man in Babylon. He talks about luck.
Yeah.
And they discuss luck, and basically luck boils down to seeing an opportunity and taking it while it's there.
Creating the opportunities.
So that's my thought.
I don't have anything super profound. I guess I would say sleep, get it while you can.
Oh, seriously.
We have a baby.
He's about to have a baby
coming next week.
Sleep is incredibly important in general. I worked for a doctor for a number of years, and the amount of health problems that you can not cure but help reduce through proper sleep, including weight loss. In this last 2 months that I've been doing this 1 meal a day thing, my sleep has increased dramatically, and that's helping me a lot.
Yeah. Last night I was deep asleep, and in the middle of the night, and we had the loudest thunderclap I think I've ever heard. It took me like half an hour to go back to sleep. My heart was pounding.
All right, Keith, you got a thought for the week for us?
So, the biggest thing that I've been dealing with recently, and the biggest thing on my mind, is what type of company I want to be doing. And it goes back to what we were talking about, like, do we want to have that personal connection with our clients, or do we want to be the big, works with Toyota, works with Kraft and Kmart, because I like the Ks as well. What is the type of level that we're doing? Because even within that, it's a gamut, right? Like, are we a 5-person company? Are we a 10-person company? Are we a 20-person company? And that's really what I've been wrestling with, because I think that sits at the core of what your company is, right? What you're doing. Are you someone who has that personal connection to all your clients or customers, or are you someone who has kind of farmed that out and is able to build a culture in your company that is an extension of you? Because I think that's very difficult. I know it's very difficult for me, so it's something that I've been working at a lot. How do we get everyone in the team to be on the same page as far as quality and how we talk to people, and just making people feel like they're special to us, right? So that's what I've been thinking about a lot recently, and unfortunately I still don't have an answer, but that's where we go. So
awesome. I can't remember if you said that you read E-Myth Revisited or not, but if you haven't, you'll love that book for answering that question.
Yeah.
I have it. I'm about, was it a fourth of the way through? So I need to pick it up again and finish reading it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. It's been fun. Thanks for joining us, Keith.
Yeah, thanks, Keith.
Thank you for having us.
To meet you.
Or having me. It's been great.
All right.
So we'll do another one of these in like 3 to 5 years, maybe.
Right.
See where we all have gone.
Yep.
Yeah. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Nice. All right. I'll see you guys at MicroConf.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derick as we figure it out. We are the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developreneurs.